After getting back to the hotel room from Cracker Barrel and Bass Pro, just sanding down bowling balls that I think need to be sanded down after the practice. Got my 2000 and 500 grit that I'll be using. Brought my 1000, but I wasn't going to need it for the sanding that I was going to be doing today. Some of y'all may be wondering what I'm doing. I'm plugging in my bowling ball sander. Yes, I did take it with me, and I'm very glad I did. So it looked a little odd having it in the hotel room. May have looked odd bringing it in. I'm sure no one's seen something like that, but it was very necessary, and I'm glad I brought it. And yes, I did clean up all the dust afterwards. I was very careful about that. Starting off with the idle here, sanding it down to 500 grit. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to see all future videos to be notified about when they will be published. So I'll be going over my different strike balls. I do stop the sander after 10 times going from the top of the ball to the side and back. So 10 of those, and then I'll rotate the ball. I rotate it about 90 degrees. I don't know how quite to describe it. I know what I'm doing, it's just I don't know how to describe it properly. I've been doing this for a few months now, and I've been very happy with the results. I've been saving tons of money by doing it myself instead of paying pro shops to do it, even though I really like the way the pro shops do it. I know a lot of good guys at the pro shops. I am on teams with guys from the pro shop, but this just saves me a ton of money. Instead of X amount each time, I can sand all my bowling balls several times a day if need be. If I need to go back to the hotel in between squads, what have you. So I rotated the bowling ball and started it spinning, did my back and forth. Here I'm wetting down the ball to catch some of the dust. From what I've read and some of the research I've done, it does help I forgot the name of the pad. It's a longer word. I don't want to mispronounce it. Starts with an A, I believe. It helps the longevity, the lifespan of the sanding pad, but also it gives it a better sanding cut, if you want to phrase it that way, on the bowling ball itself. It does keep some of the dust down. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It's just what feels right. Sort of like if any of y'all sand wood, or if you're sanding some finer metal, you kind of feel what needs to be sanded more or what type of grit, just by the feel of it, not necessarily what can be seen. So that's kind of what I'm doing at this point, is how it feels like it's flowing on the bowling ball as it's spinning. Of course, other when it hits the thumb hole or the finger grips. I'm just finding what feels right. That's how I judge the way it should be done on my bowling balls, is what feels right. If I can feel a blemish, then I'll sand a little bit more on a certain spot, not necessarily while it's spinning, but I will get that done in a timely fashion to get that gone. I did have a couple splotches of sticky stuff after practice the prior day. I worked on taking that off by hand, but it came off better on the ball spinner, just blowing out the dust from the thumb hole and the finger holes. Make sure everything's good. Bringing my Reality by 900 Global out. Going to sand that. It's going to be my primary strike ball, but I will not be afraid to go to my Idle or to my IQ if necessary. I'll also be sanding the Proton Physics, just as worst case scenario, but I doubt I'll be using that. The 900 Global was reacting well in practice. I just wanted to resand it so it's fresh for the lane conditions of the tournament itself. That way it's not already logged with oil. It's not just full. Get sanded, get the surface back to how I want it. I've already changed the angle, so it's going to get a new surface. Wet it down a little bit. The sander was vibrating the table and the lamps and the TV and everything. It was quite funny. It was kind of loud, so I was making sure I was trying to have everything as quiet as possible. Yes, I did clean up after myself. I'm not one of those people that leaves dust everywhere and stuff. I was very mindful of how much dust was coming off and how I'd mitigate that. So yes, I cleaned several times after all this because I do not want to leave a filthy hotel room. I want to leave it basically how it was when I got there, minus how neat the sheets are, basically. Yeah, got a little bit of dust in my eyes, a little dry out. I had some itchy times with my eyes. I don't know if it was just some dust I got in my eyes or what it was, but probably all this dust didn't help. Just getting it going. It's feeling pretty good. I believe the sticky stuff was mostly on the 900 global. Getting some of the dust out of the sanding pad. I'm doing 500 grit on the 900 reality as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I did sand this twice. I went through all my bowling balls, and then I brought this one back out because I just had a feeling it needed to be sanded just a little bit more. Not sure if it really needed it. It just was a gut feeling I had, and it reacted well later in the day. So if it was needed, then I'm happy I did it. If it wasn't, then it was just for, my gut feeling and making me feel more confident that I did what I felt was right. Because a lot of this is about confidence and knowing one's ability and that you have the knowledge to do certain things. Obviously, I'm still learning a lot of this. I'm not anywhere near as knowledgeable as a lot of these guys out here or a lot of the guys at the home centers that I bowl at. I'll be the first to say that I'm not near as knowledgeable about oil patterns, different types of bowling balls, different drilling, the different angles, the pitches. I'm not near as smart as them. I just try and take everything I can in and work on my skill set in rolling the ball down the lane. So that's kind of my philosophy, is learn as much as possible, but also know that skill set that you have is, at the end of the day, it's the most important factor. Because you can know all the stuff about the bowling ball, but if you can't roll it right, it really doesn't make much of a difference. So I am trying to learn and be as versatile as possible while also keeping the good confidence in knowing that I can roll the ball the way it's supposed to be rolled. So I did a lot of extra sanding on this one just to have it very well nice and spherical. I don't want to do too little and to where it eventually gets a little wonky shaped. Clearing out dust, make sure there's no obstruction in the thumb or finger holes. Bringing out the IQ Tour, I believe it's Tour Series Edition. There's several different bowling balls that are very similar name-wise. I'm doing this one with 2,000 grit, just so that it's half the factory finish. Factory finish, I believe, is 4,000 grit. I want to have a little bit more aggressive surface, but I'm not taking it anywhere down to 1,000 or 500 grit. I don't need it that aggressive. It rolls great the way it is. I just want it a little bit more porous on the surface. So I rotate the ball about 90 degrees, and it looks right, feels right. So that's how much I turn each time, and then I start turning it other directions as well, not just continually the same direction at 90 degrees. So sometimes I will put a little bit extra moisture on here. I normally have a wet rag, a slightly damp rag. Sometimes I put a little bit more on if it feels necessary. But this one, so far, I wasn't feeling it was necessary at this point. And get it back spinning. I believe I turn each bowling ball 5 times. Minimum 4, but if it feels right, I'll turn it a 5th time, an extra angle, and do another 10 from the top of the ball to the side, to the top, to the side, so on. It is time consuming, but also I like knowing that I can feel what's happening with the bowling ball. I can feel what I'm doing to it. It's not just turning it into the shop, having it done, and it's back. I like feeling what's happening with the bowling balls because I use these most of the week. I'm bowling at least 4 days a week. I've been getting up to 5 this week, following week, and the week after it's going to be 6 days a week of bowling. So different tournaments, different practices, different leagues. I want to know what's happening with my bowling ball. I want to feel what's happening with it. It just makes me more comfortable with my equipment instead of just turning it in, having something done, and having it turned back to me. Even though I know the guys in the different pro shops I go to, I bowl with them. I've known them for a long while. I trust their skill set. It's nothing against them. I just like feeling what happens to my bowling ball. I have them drill it. I have several guys that I really trust. I really like their style of drilling. Really great, especially Jay down at Cowbowl at Pro Approach, owned by John Struckman. All great guys. Love the Pro Approach pro shops. They do a great job. I really like taking my bowling balls down to Jay. He really does a great job bringing it to me down the lanes, seeing if it fits well. If it's a little snug in a certain spot, he'll take it back, take a little bit out, bring it back out. He'll come back and forth minimum 6 times, and that's minimum. Just coming back and forth, and he's always making sure it's perfect. He doesn't slack off, and I think that's really great. He does a great job, and I really appreciate that. So getting the Proton Physics sanded down now, also at 500 grit. I'm not expecting to use this one. I didn't care for its reaction in practice, but I'd rather be prepared and have it all sanded down than just figuring I'm not going to use it, but then actually need it. In the tournament, I actually did not end up using it. I don't have any footage actually of the tournament. I have 2 pictures that I would add in here. I just did not have time to video or to take pictures. I was concentrating on my bowling and just didn't have time to do any of that. I was busy focusing on the bowling itself. I'm not worried about taking a bunch of photos, a bunch of videos, or doing anything like that. I'm there to bowl. I'm not there to take pictures. I just trying to do as good as possible and not have my distractions going into trying to get the best angles, lighting, or anything like that. So bowling started off great, but it went downhill quite fast for me. There were several reasons. One, first and foremost, was I threw a good amount of terrible shots. I'll be first to admit that. I did quite terrible on a decent amount of them. There were a good amount that I was very happy with the roll, mostly with the reality, the IQ, and my purple hammer. Great shots. I just didn't seem to have luck on a lot of them. And it made for some quite terrible games I was not proud of, but I had the experience of using them at that tournament. Another, I can't say this is for sure reason I didn't bowl as good as I wanted to. I was bowling on a set with another guy, really fun to bowl with, but also left-handed, but he was using urethane and had what looked like 1,000 revs. Sure it wasn't, but he had a lot of revs, and we were basically using the same shot line. So I'm assuming that wore down my path every single time, pushed the oil out, and just made it inconsistent for me. But I'm not anywhere close to saying like it was his fault or blame. It's like, no, he throws the way he throws. If I didn't want to be in that path, I could move, but the paths I am better at and more comfortable using was that same path. So here's the tournament. This is the video I did take with the 900 Global, and I have my little lucky charm from my best friend. So here's the oil pattern. It was the Chia pattern at 35 feet. A lot of oil on the front half. Here's second document. These are both from the PBA website. And this is one of the 2 pictures. Had a blast there. Even though I didn't bowl anywhere close as to what I wanted to bowl, I still had a lot of fun. I'm not there to bowl great, and if I don't, I'm super upset. Granted, yes, do I want to win? Do I want to bowl great? Yes and yes. But I'm there for the experience. I'm there to have fun with this. It's all about having fun. If I'm not there to have fun, I shouldn't be there at all. I think it's all about good sportsmanship, having a good time, trying to learn as much as possible for the next time. Again, always trying to win. I'm very competitive. I'm extremely competitive. But I can't let that get in the way of having fun with all this. I'm there to have a good time, enjoy myself, enjoy the experience, and I did all of that. I was very happy with all of that. Bowling not so well didn't really take that away from anything. If I did great and won or anything like that, just did great in general, I'd been extremely happy with that. But that's not going to be the determining factor of how much fun I had doing this. So after bowling, went to a restaurant that was a little whiles away, but it looked really cool. It was a Mexican restaurant, and the food there was great. The atmosphere was great. I was very happy with it. Some of the other bowlers went as well. So we had different groups of tables taken up by different professional bowlers there. So that was pretty cool. Really nice atmosphere. Wasn't super loud. I was happy with that. Food was great. It was probably one of the best Mexican restaurants I've been to. And I live in Los Angeles, so I've been to a lot of Mexican restaurants. So that is saying something. I was very happy with this restaurant. It looked great. The food tasted great, and the experience there was great. The staff was phenomenal. Always making sure everything was good. I think y'all like this next picture. The food is really good. It was top tier in my opinion. Especially compared to a lot of Mexican restaurants. This one tasted by far one of the best I've been to. Some of the ones that cook very similar to this in my area in Los Angeles have closed down, which is unfortunate. So going here was kind of like going back in time for me and having great food at those Mexican restaurants. And I've not taken Spanish in a long while, and the co-workers I had that only spoke Spanish, I haven't worked with them, so my Spanish is very rusty, so I will not try and pronounce this name because it's been that long ago. I'm not going to butcher up the name. But it was a lot of fun, great atmosphere there, and it was really cool seeing other bowlers going out, having a good time afterwards, whether they did well or didn't do well. And so it was a great trip. I'll be heading home in the morning, so hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, please like it, share it with your buddies. Don't forget to comment. Curious to hear what y'all are thinking about it. Subscribe, and go ahead and hit that notification bell so you see more videos like this in the future. Getting back to town, be putting more welding videos out. Some of the more long-term subscribers have been requesting some different videos in some of the more recent videos comments, and also the comments of some of the posts that have been published recently. So I will be sure to create those getting back to town. I hope y'all will enjoy those. So yeah, if y'all want to see stuff, go put it in the comments. I do read all the comments. I try to respond as soon as I can. When I'm taking breaks from different things, get home from different things, in between work, and all that good stuff. So I do read all the comments. If y'all want to see something, let me know. If I'm not going to do it, I will say why or why not. And yeah, I'm trying to keep this interactive channel, so let me know what y'all think. See y'all in the next videos.